2024 was a year of conflict. 2024 was a year of hardship. 2024 was a year of protest. 2024 was a year of extremes. 2024 was a year of change.
The 47th President of the United States.
The former president's comeback will be complete with a win in Wisconsin, a state that
2024 was a year of breakthroughs. 2024 was a year of hope.
To secure peace, prosperity, and hope for a greater future for our beloved nation.
Arise News was by your side every step of the way. Join us as we look back at 2024. What a year.
Gather round, people, gather round. Listen to the 2024 exit sound. Arise News tales abound. I'm gonna tell you a monetary policy story about getting Nigeria back to price stability glory. Cardoso clearing FX backlogs out like a three-point shot from Robert Horry. But you have questions like common sense and most deaf.
It's the questions. It's the questions, boy. It's the questions.
How did unorthodox monetary policy go so left? The question is.
The question is.
For students of orthodoxy that are so vexed, what was the unorthodox monetary policy within the Nigerian context? Mr. Bismarck Rwani, take it away.
Monetary policy orthodoxy, which is the issue we are trying to discuss today, is an extraordinary move or extraordinary set of policies targeted at solving some major shocks to the economy. The word unorthodox monetary policy was introduced at a time in the Nigerian economic history to justify some very difficult and extraordinary situations. We're in a state of stagflation, we're in a state of exchange rate pressures, and in a state where we had some real developmental drawbacks. Now, the truth is that the unorthodox monetary policy was like a non-invasive procedure, right? For a patient who was under stress. The Nigerian economy was under stress at that time, and any number of policies could have been introduced. But my understanding of the unorthodox policies was that we couldn't wait for the normal processes, and that the lags for using unorthodox policies were going to be shorter, and the impact was going to be quite significant, a positive impact.
Thank you, Mr. Rwani. Thank you so much. You're too smooth. February 2024 was memorable in many different ways. Arise News had a special report on Valentine's Day. But February was special more so because it was the first MPC meeting for Governor Cardoso.
It is very important for Nigerians to understand that the central bank governor, I and my team, are not responsible for the woes that we have today. We are part of the solution. We are determined to ensure that we work hard to get out of the mess that Nigeria is in. We assumed responsibility in a time of crisis of confidence. There was a crisis of confidence, and you may all want to go to bed and wish that that crisis of confidence was not there, but it was. And we can't turn back the clock. All we can do is do the difficult things to make a bad situation better. And I do believe that the efforts that we are making are beginning to bring back confidence.
Cardoso was clear and transparent for all to see. And he had an exclusive with Arise TV. No, wait. Bring that back. The Duke doesn't like Arise TV. Let's do that again. Cardoso was clear and transparent with his views. And then he spoke exclusively to Arise News.
Communication, we know, is key with respect to monetary policy. And we obviously understand that the decisions that come from monetary policy can be a little bit complicated at times, but the idea is to ensure that moving forward, our communication strategy is able to give the right messages depending on the different segments that we are trying to address. So we are revamping the whole communication strategy for the central bank. And I'm hoping that as we move forward, particularly as the monetary policy committee engagements take place, you will begin to see the way and manner in which we try and get out the messaging. We are also obviously engaging various financial and economic actors, to ensure that they understand the mode of travel. We're constantly going to be going out, and we already do it in many respects, but we're going to strengthen the process of getting out and receiving feedback. Because the worst thing you want to do is to make communication a one-way traffic. We're going to be going out there to get feedback on the various efforts that we're implementing. And to be frank, nowadays, with social media and the way
other forms of digital,
yes. Communication is taking place. It's a lot easier to do that. In addition to that, I must tell you that we're building capacity in that area. In fact, when I came into the central bank, I recognized that was one of the major things we wanted to follow. In fact, if I mentioned 2 or 3 things, it was one of them, to ensure that the strategy is one that is effective.
Let's talk about the SMEs. Opportunities come from business complexities that require a cure. That's why Zeus blessed us with the entrepreneur. Economic foot soldiers doing what they can to put food on the table for child, woman, and man. But there's something that's hard to digest on the SME's plate, and that's the Nigerian case of high interest rates. Ladies, take it away.
As a small business in the real estate space in Nigeria, we have properties that we have up for corporate leasing. We have a sector of the business that do interiors. We are also looking into JV projects, right? So typically we'll get a client will approach us, we get a property, we do renovations, we gut out the property, we buy items of the property from furniture to art, so everything that is needed to position that property to sell and appeal to our corporate clients. And in most situations, we are spending our money. So if we're able to access bank loans, we are able to expand, we're able to grow faster and bigger, we're able to make more impact. And then we're able to sort of look into other sectors of the real estate space that we can get into, which is maybe affordable houses, affordable homes. But the fact that we can't really access bank loans because of the high interest rates, there's a huge opportunity cost in that. We're unable to grow, we're unable to expand. And once we do a financial analysis, we look at it and we know that if we go to the bank to take the interest, to take the loans with a high interest rate, if that property, if we refurbish or do an extensive construction on a property, if that property doesn't sell, we are still left to pay the interest on that loan. So in essence, we're kind of losing money, right? Because you take the loan, there's a high interest, the property doesn't sell as fast as you want it to sell, but you're still obligated to pay back the interest on the loan to the bank. So I think with a lower interest rate, small businesses can actually achieve a lot. They're able to grow, they're able to expand, they're able to meet the demands in whatever space that they're in.
Bank loans have really high interest rates, and as a startup, I don't think it's financially wise to make such an investment without building my company successfully first.
But Governor Cardoso recognized the price pressures in the nation. And he observed that to fight poverty and high interest rates, you need to bring down inflation.
And let me conclude by saying that as far as I know, there is no economic model that portends to take people out of poverty when inflation is accelerating at the levels that we've seen it at. There's none. And for that reason, we do not intend to relent on ensuring that we bring it under control.
And speaking of inflation, Governor Cardoso observed another dislocation. It was on the FX side. Hello, governors. FAC allocation.
Members were also concerned about the growing level of fiscal deficit, but acknowledged the commitment of the fiscal authority not to resort to monetary financing through ways and means. Furthermore, members observed a strong correlation between FAC releases and liquidity levels in the banking system, as well as its impact on the exchange rate. The committee, therefore, agreed to increase monitoring of future releases with a view to addressing its effect on price developments.
A return to orthodox monetary policy fresh in Nigeria like a freestyle off the top of the dome. What's the outlook for 2025? Mr. Rewane, please take us home.
2025, my view is that 2025 is going to be, the first quarter of 2025 is going to be it's going to be tough, right? And what we expect to see is a moderation or flatlining of inflation. In other words, inflation coming down from around 35%, right, to about 33 or 32%. We expect that the monetary policy authorities, because of that trend, will become less hawkish and more a normal monetary policy. In other words, maintaining the status quo for at least 1 or 2 meetings, and then before you start, begin to see some easing, depending on how inflation and other factors For the first quarter of 2025, I think that you would have some normalization in the price of PMS, diesel, kerosene, and all of that. At these levels, let's not just get carried away by the price war that is taking place right now. I think the equilibrium price will be more like about 1,100, which is fair enough at this point in time, and it disincentivizes the smuggling of products across the border, because across the border it's about 1,500 and all that. So the cost of moving across the border and all that is not worth it. So we will see that happen. In the first quarter of 2025, I believe also that the power supply crisis in Nigeria will come to a head. Something has to happen. Something has to give about power. If we don't do anything about power supply, then the economy is going to be in dire straits. So we have to do that. I think that in first quarter of 2025, there has to be a meeting of minds between the upstream petroleum actors and the government and NNPC to ensure that a set of incentives that make the exploration and production business attractive, right? I also believe that this economy can achieve growth above 3 or 4% if those things happen, including, more than anything else, the liberalization of the tariffs of the telco companies. Because you have to have telco investment to have the digital revolution. So because you need skills, you need technology to increase output. And that technology is dependent on one, the telcos being able to invest, and the power discos having to invest. If those two happen, then you will see an economy that will begin to limp out of the current situation. What we do is more important than what we say. And that's the message for 2025. Hard work, slow recovery, consistent policies, reining in the waste, and then there'll be good tidings at the end of the period.
Cautiously optimistic in Nigeria is the vibe. Arise News will see you in 2025.